Welcome to yet another episode of Beyond the Present podcast. My name is Daniel Mulligan, and today we'll be talking about having your own independent mind in our highly polarized world. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world today where the world is extremely polarized and biased. We have these two parties who are going literally at each other's throat 24/7, and as a result, both sides are heading towards an extreme approach to life. This has never been done before at this scale, not only in American history, but all around the world. We're seeing this all over the world. We're seeing this happening in Europe. We're seeing this happening in, the Middle East. Pretty much everywhere we are seeing this, perhaps with the exception of China. Those guys are up to something. I don't know. But the thing is this, the world is now extremely polarized, and we as citizens of this world have to learn the art of thinking independently. And today, I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's now get started with how do we build that independent mindset. First of all, what does it even mean to think independently for yourself? Not to be easily affected by all these political games that both sides of the party somehow tends to play in order to get their objectives. The first step is to understand the nature that, this whole game of media is designed to attract viewers and followers. It is less concerned with being scientifically correct or even sincere than it is to simply gaining more followers. So by understanding the primary objective of media work and political, ideas, you have to understand that the main focus is to recruit more followers. And that means that most of these approaches that we're seeing these days, socioeconomically, politically, and otherwise, is designed primarily to attract more followers. Even if that means in the long run, their strategies will fail. And this applies to both sides of the aisle. This applies to the conservative parties around the world and to the more liberal democratic parties around the world. It doesn't really matter. They both want to attract more followers. And for that reason, they have to appeal to certain things that bring about the maximum level of support among the targeted audience. So let me repeat that. The maximum amount of support among the targeted audience. So both the liberals, if you will, and the conservatives, in pretty much every country that I know, they have a target audience. They are smart enough to understand that he simply cannot bring everybody on board. They say, you can't please everyone, right? And that's exactly true when it comes to media and when it comes to politics. You just simply cannot attract everyone to your cause. As a result, you create for yourself a target audience. You ask yourself, so what kind of person would be more likely to follow me and to agree with my words and to somehow join forces? This then will create a list of possible identities, backgrounds, ethnicities, lifestyles, and so on. And then you create a huge list of possible candidates that will be great fit to join your cause. This applies, by the way, to every culture, every religion, and every socioeconomic background. It doesn't matter what kind of society you're in. The leaders in those societies will then have to think, all right, so what type of person will I be able to attract to my cause? Because the fact of the matter is that as, a political leader, as a media, perhaps, personality, or as any sort of, position in society that allows you to influence a lot of people, it doesn't really matter. You need to have a target audience. You do not need everybody to join your causes in order for you to be legitimized in the process. You just need a certain group. And because of this, then they will create this huge list. Okay, so I'm going to have to be able to, find these types. So if you're a more liberal type of media or party, you probably have to focus more on women, minorities, people of different ethnicities, people of, different races that are not white usually, and obviously the different types of minorities. If you are a conservative type, you probably should appeal more to the more religious types, the more business savvy type, the wealthier, basically people, and so on. So because of this, you then create this portfolio of possible targets for your campaigns and then start exaggerating all of those things that will bring about that target audience the closest to you, even if that means that your statements are not in touch with reality or not even things that you believe in. That's right, guys. Many of the things that many of the media outlets express are not the things they actually personally believe in, but they know that that's going to give them the majority of the support. Because of this, once you understand that if you are living in the modern world, you are a target. You're a target by one of these two sides. Then you somehow start to think more clearly. Oh, wait a minute. Am I a target now? Yes, you are. And if you're not picking side, the chances are you will be picked by them somehow. For that reason, it's extremely important to start developing an independent mindset. By understanding the process, by knowing that in this world, you got to pick a side at some point if you don't do anything, and that the only way to have control over your life is to be truly independent, then you somehow take the steps necessary to be an independent thinker. Now, let's talk about this issue for a second. Why is it that if we do not take conscious effort, we'll automatically be pulled towards one of these two directions? The answer is simple. It's because of the impact that the media has on your way of thinking and on the emotions that you experience. So by having that, initiative to think about your life independently, you'll become immunized against either type or either side. For that reason, from today, ask yourself, okay, so now I know this. I know that, most political movements around the world are fueled not by the desire to help the people or to make a difference, but to promote an ideology, be it more, liberal one or a more conservative one. Then you understand, oh boy, so we're in a big show here right now. I'm going to do something. So by just realizing this and understanding that whatever movement you're hearing now being talked about a lot, whatever hashtag is super popular, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it is drill baby drill, it doesn't really matter. Whatever hashtag you're hearing, the purpose of that is not the well-being of the population, the well-being of our planet or, the ecosystem, or even your own personal happiness. The purpose of that is to simply attract more followers. Once you understand that, then you somehow become very skeptical of all these hashtags that you start seeing pouring all over the social media. And then ask yourself, all right, so what is really happening here? And ironically, the way to understand the reality is to never pick a side. Tell yourself from today, I might be able to endorse one of the two parties when it comes to elections, but I will never be a member of either one. I will instead be an independent thinker. Because as an independent thinker, you then criticize everything that you hear, whether it comes from the party that you support or from the opposing party. And at the same time, you listen to both sides. You do not, engage in the destructive cancel culture of, I will not listen to whatever you say because you're from the opposing party. So you might be like, I am a supporter of feminism and LGBTQ+. So I will never listen to any, conservative people talking about the possible damages and harms of promoting, LGBTQ+ transgender identity in the world. So if you really have a belief that is very strong, if you're truly, deeply, perhaps in this concept, and you really understand, you have a deep conviction about this whole thing, then perhaps what you need to do is to maybe, spend a couple of hours listening to the opposing views as well, because that's what science is all about. Good science is when you compare two opposing views and create a more realistic perspective. If you, on the other hand, are a conservative type, saying, no, it's all about the Bible. Whatever I want to know, I already have learned them all my life. The only book I ever need is the Bible. I start reading the Bible, and that's all the knowledge I'll ever need. And I'm never going to listen to all these queers and all these weird guys, all these weirdos promoting all these anti-Jesus, ideologies. So listen, if you're really on that side, you also want to perhaps listen to, the new liberal party's ideologies. Maybe they got something interesting as well. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that the key to independent thinking is to actually, look at both sides and look at the pros and cons of both approaches to life. And then finally, make up your own mind. Do not let any media movement make up your mind about what is right or what is wrong. Just because we are now, seeing a lot of, movies and series on Netflix, with all the heroes being, for example, black or lesbian, that doesn't mean that all of our heroes should be black lesbians. On the other hand, when you're looking at some of the stuff from Fox News, they're talking about, oh my goodness, all of these are trying to ruin the world. Look at what they're doing. They're destroying our value. You have to ask yourself, is that really true? I mean, does promoting the rights of some of these minorities and enabling these people to somehow have a normal life, is it really that bad for the society? I mean, what's wrong with people of the minority groups somehow feel a bit more accepted? There's nothing wrong with that either, is there? So once you create that, balanced approach to thinking, once you realize that both sides have some interesting ideas and some false ideas, you then stop being easily dogmatized or manipulated by either side and create your own fresh set of eyes to see the world through your own perspective, developed through study and research and objective thinking rather than media hype and hashtags and other types of, forms of manipulation. That is why from today, I'm encouraging all of you guys to start thinking more independently. The world is highly polarized, and we'll be seeing a lot of changes coming up in the coming years and decades that will fully transform our societies globally. We're seeing some big changes happening in Asia, in the Islamic world, in Europe, of course, in the United States and North America. We're going to be seeing more of these polarizations around the world, and the current crisis in Europe clearly shows that, which is why it's extremely important to start thinking more independently. That means look and, perhaps listen to both sides. Let the left, the liberal-leaning, the left-leaning parties express their mind. Let the right, conservative, perhaps more, let's say, religious sides also express their ideologies. And then you make up your own mind based upon objective thinking rather than just falling for the trap of media hype. And only then you'll be able to actually make up your mind about what really matters, create good plans for your life, and achieve your goals in a sustainable manner. Because if you're not in touch with reality, you cannot accomplish much in life. You have to make good decisions to have a good life, and good decisions requires independent thinking. So hopefully you can actually get that little jolt of motivation for the day to think more independently for yourself. And please, your ideas are false if you cannot tolerate hearing the opposing view. So long as you can hear the opposing view and still maintain your beliefs, now that's independent thinking, and I recommend you all to have that attitude. All right, guys, that's all the time we had for. Wish you guys a fantastic and lovely day ahead. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them to me on my website or contact me directly on the social media. You can find me everywhere at Dan Mulligan, and I'm looking forward to see you guys and hearing more from you. Think independently, enjoy your life, make good decisions, and have a great one.